Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to Timeless Romance Tales. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more aristocratic tension, forbidden longing, and dark Regency passion. Tonight's tale begins with a single stolen letter, and the Earl who vowed she would never walk away. Let's begin. The March wind rattled the windows of Havenshire Manor as Lady Elara Whitcombe slipped down the dim corridor, her fingers trembling around the single candle she carried. Her father was hosting another one of his infamous late-night councils. Whispers of political maneuvering, secret alliances, and debts no gentleman should ever owe. Elara wasn't meant to be anywhere near that wing of the manor. Yet here she was. Her heartbeat thundering in her ears, she crept toward her father's locked study. The letter she needed, no, the letter she had to find, was somewhere inside. She reached the heavy oak door and swallowed hard. "Please," she whispered, pulling a thin wire pin from her hair. "Just let this work." It only took seconds. The lock clicked open. She slipped inside, closing the door behind her. The study smelled of ink, tobacco, and masculine secrets. The moonlight slanted across the sprawling desk. Papers were carelessly stacked, maps and correspondence strewn everywhere. But Elara knew exactly what she needed. A sealed envelope. Dark crimson wax. The crest of Westmere. The Earl of Westmere and her father had exchanged letters for months, but this particular one, was the reason her father had threatened to marry her off, before dawn if necessary. The reason he'd screamed at her mother. And the reason Elara's hand shook even as she reached for the envelope. She slipped it beneath her cloak and turned to escape, and froze. A tall figure filled the doorway. The candlelight caught the unmistakable silhouette of a man, broad shoulders, dark hair, and an aura of power that seemed to own the very air in the room. "Lady Elara," he said, voice dangerously calm. "Put the letter down." Her blood ran cold. It was him. Elias Hawthorne, Earl of Westmere. The one man her father feared. The man whispered about across every drawing room in London. The man who never lost a political feud and never forgave a slight. And the man who now stepped inside the room and quietly closed the door behind him. Elara lifted her chin. "This is my father's study. You're trespassing." "Am I?" he murmured, walking forward with the slow confidence of a predator. "I was invited to tonight's council. The question is, my lady, why are you here?" Her pulse hammered. "I came looking for a book." "In the middle of the night?" "Yes." "In your cloak?" "Yes." "And with a lockpick?" His voice dropped, velvet smooth and chilling. Her silence was answer enough. He stopped only a breath away from her. Elias Hawthorne was even more imposing up close, tall, impeccably dressed in a dark waistcoat, storm gray eyes sharp enough to cut through her complexion. He smelled of cedar, winter wind, and something ineffably male. "Give me the letter," he said quietly. Elara clenched it tighter. "No." His jaw tensed. "Elara," he said, lowering his voice. "You don't understand what you've taken." "I understand perfectly." She stepped back. "This letter mentions me, doesn't it? This is why my father wants me married off to Lord Brackenridge. This is why he forbade me from leaving the estate. Her voice cracked. This is why he's afraid." Elias studied her, eyes unreadable. "You shouldn't be privy to this," he said finally. "It will put you in danger." "Danger from whom?" she demanded. "You." He didn't answer. She turned toward the door, but he reached past her, slammed the lock shut, and pocketed the key. Elara gasped. "You locked us in?" "Yes." "Why?" He stepped closer, voice low. "Because if you leave this room with that letter, you won't survive the night." Her breath stopped. "Explain," she whispered. Elias exhaled, running a hand through his dark hair. It messed the immaculate order of it, making him look younger and far more human. "Your father," he said slowly, "has woven himself into a political conspiracy far darker than you comprehend. That letter contains proof he promised me he would destroy." "Why does it mention me?" she pressed. His jaw tightened. "Because you are leverage. My father offered me to Lord Brackenridge," she whispered, horrified. Elias stared at her with something like fury, though not at her. "He offered you to Brackenridge," he repeated. "As collateral." Her stomach dropped. "Collateral? For a debt your father owes." A debt of allegiance. A debt of silence. Elara shook her head violently. No, no, I'm not property. I know, Elias said sharply. Believe me, I know. She stared at him, the letter clutched between them like a live wire. Why are you here tonight? She whispered. His breath hitched, barely perceptible, but there. To stop you from being taken, he said. Her heart stuttered. By taking me yourself? She retorted. His eyes flashed. If it keeps you alive, yes. She stepped back instinctively, but he followed, closing the distance. Elara, he said, voice low, steady, relentless. You were not meant to see that letter. But now that you have, there are only two paths left. She swallowed hard. Which are? 1. I hand you over to the men coming for you in the next hour. Her blood turned to ice. Or, she whispered. Or, he murmured, brushing a stray curl from her cheek, far too gently for a man with his reputation. You leave with me. Now. Under my protection. Her breath caught. His fingers lingered at her jaw, warmth searing her skin. To protect me, she whispered. Or to claim me. His gaze darkened. Both. She should have been terrified. She should have run. But standing that close to him, he felt like a wall against the storm. A force that could crush mountains. And a force that would destroy anyone who tried to harm her. Why me? She whispered. The Earl's voice dropped to something raw. Because when your father offered you up like currency, I wanted to kill him. He stepped closer still, his breath brushing her ear. Because I have wanted you since the night I first saw you at the Whitcombe ball. Because you are not meant for cows like Brackenridge or fools like your father. You deserve a man who knows your worth. Her pulse throbbed wildly. And you think you know it? She whispered. He lifted her chin, eyes burning. I do. The air between them tightened, thick with something dangerous and irresistible. Then the manor bell rang. Not once, but twice, slow, ominous tolls. Elara's face drained of color. That's the signal, she whispered. For intruders. No, Elias grabbed her wrist. It's the signal your father arranged. To deliver you. To whom? To Brackenridge's men. Elara's knees weakened. They're coming now? Yes. She stared at the locked door. Then at the Earl. Choose, he said softly. Her breath trembled out of her. She lifted the letter higher. I choose the truth, she whispered. I choose the man willing to tell me the truth. His chest rose sharply. Then you choose me, he murmured. Before she could reply, a heavy thud echoed through the corridor. Footsteps. Voices. They're here, Elias said. We don't have long. She clutched his sleeve. Then take me. Please. His expression changed utterly, into something fierce, possessive, unstoppable. He swept her into his arms, unlocked the hidden side door behind the bookcase, and led her into the narrow servant passage. Torches flickered as he pulled her through the passageways, moving like a man who'd memorized every secret of the manor. Where are we going? She whispered. To the stables, he said. My horse is ready. As they ran, she glanced over her shoulder. Shadows moved. A crash sounded somewhere behind them. They're searching the corridors, Elias muttered. Faster. They burst into the cold night air behind the manor. Elias swung her onto his horse, vaulted up behind her, wrapped an arm around her waist, and whispered against her ear. Hold on to me. She did. The horse galloped into the darkness, hooves pounding, cloak whipping behind her. Elara felt the warmth of Elias's chest pressed against her back, the steadiness of his arm around her, the certainty of his breath at her neck. It should have frightened her. Instead she felt safe. Safer than she'd ever felt in her life. As they reached the cover of the woods, Elias slowed the horse beside an abandoned hunting lodge. He lifted her down gently, cupping her waist, keeping her close. Elara, he said softly, you must understand, taking you means declaring war. She looked up at him, moonlight catching the sharp angles of his face. You already declared war the moment you locked that door. His eyes softened. You're trembling, he murmured. Let me warm you. He stepped closer, cloak slipping around her shoulders as he pulled her against him. She felt the steady, powerful rhythm of his heart. Why are you doing this? She whispered. He leaned his forehead to hers. Because I want you alive. Because I want you safe. Because I want you. More than I have ever wanted anything. Her breath shook. Elias. He lifted her chin with 2 fingers. Say you trust me. She hesitated. Then, I trust you, she whispered. His breath hitched. Then I'll keep you, he murmured. For as long as you let me. Elara. He whispered again, cupping her cheek. May I kiss you? She leaned into him, heart racing. Yes. He kissed her slowly at first, reverently, then deeper, fiercer, as though every ounce of restraint he possessed crumbled. His hand slid into her hair, her fingers gripping his coat. She melted into him completely, the world dissolving into warmth and sensation. When they parted, he rested his forehead against hers, breathing hard. You're mine now, he whispered. Not by force. By choice. She smiled softly. And you're mine. Footsteps echoed in the distance. Elara stiffened, but Elias only smirked. Let them come, he murmured, pulling her closer. They'll find nothing but an Earl who will burn the world before he gives you up. And with the moonlight turning the clearing silver, with danger closing in around them, and with his arms locked protectively around her, Elara realized she had stolen far more than a letter that night. She had stolen a future. A future standing beside the one man powerful enough to protect her, and passionate enough to love her with a devotion that could shake the realm. A future she would not trade for anything. Not even freedom.